There is a little noise in here with the roofers. They're starting their construction.
Two men with strong ties to a former school building in Kirkwood.
We're going to try to maintain the gym and the skylights.
One has big plans for its future.
Upper level.
This was Miss Dixon's 4th grade.
The other hopes to preserve its past. These youthful faces from an era gone by are those of students from the Turner School in Kirkwood's Meacham Park neighborhood. The school closed decades ago, but many happy memories remain. Those memories mean so much to one former student. He spent the past 15 years collecting all the class photos and other memorabilia from the school he can find.
That's me. That's me. A lot younger, a lot thinner.
His name is Harry Ming. Did you just put out the word, "I want pictures"?
Yeah, pretty much so. I started with some of the teachers who were still in the area, and even out of the area, former students. It just kind of snowballed. I would get calls and find myself digging through attics with little old ladies or little old guys looking for memorabilia and listening to all kinds of fascinating stories about the school.
Ming himself recounted the days with his two best buddies and sometime rivals, Joseph Halsey and Charles Thornton.
We used to fight over Kim Cabell all the time. I mean, literally, it almost broke up our friendship.
The Turner School, originally known as the Meacham School, was renamed for an abolitionist and former slave. James Milton Turner fought for black suffrage and other civil rights from the mid-1800s until his death in 1915. He also played key roles in the establishment of more than 30 public schools for African Americans in Missouri, including Lincoln Institute, now Lincoln University in Jefferson City. At Harry Ming's school, he says teachers did all they could to open the world to students exposed to little outside their neighborhood.
I think back to one of my 5th grade teacher, Miss Coleman. She actually took us on a camping trip. I had never been on a camping trip, didn't know anything about it. She had people come in who were avid campers who explained how to set up a camp, how to cook.
Rebecca Broaden Coleman is retired from teaching, but she remembers all the trips she organized for her 5th graders.
I took a class to Atlanta one year, and it was during graduation time, and I knew Morehouse was going to have their graduation exercises. So I called, and I made reservations for my class to be there. And this little guy was sitting beside me when all these men came walking in with their robes and their heads held high and all, and he sat there, this 10-year-old, and said, "I want to wear that." And I said, "You can, you know." And I'm so proud he did wear that. And he's doing so well now. Many of them are doing very well.
The combination of school desegregation and reorganizing the Kirkwood School District led to the closing of Turner in the mid-1970s.
And I worked very hard to try to convince the people who made the decisions that I thought that this school should remain. First of all, it had more than any other elementary school, because during segregation, that was a junior high school. And so it had a regulation-sized gym. It had showers and lockers and all those things that you don't find in an elementary school. And I said, I was convinced that it ought to be that if you bus our children out, then you should bus some children in. That's what I thought real integration was all about. Well, it didn't quite work that way.
We got to be in here somewhere. I remember taking pictures.
A temporary exhibit of some of Harry Ming's collection drew the attention of other former students. What was the most amusing picture for you to see?
Probably the one of class of 54, because one of the guys in there ended up being our teacher.
L.M. Smith.
Yeah, he ended up being our gym teacher at NIFER.
When you look back, do you think of those days with a lot of nostalgia, stuff like that?
Oh, yeah, yeah. But that's all we knew was Turner School. You know, until when I moved to Kirkwood, and then it was altogether different thing, different world.
Sounds like you like the old world better.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Most amazing thing is that the teachers, most of them were all black teachers. A few of them grew up with our parents, so they knew us. So we got a good education from them when we were coming through. That's the thing I liked about it when we were coming through. They knew the students, and they knew those of us who could learn slowly and so forth, and they had patience with us and so forth.
It wasn't so much as the school as it was the community, too. Everybody that we went to first grade with, we still know. Very few people can say that. We still know them and we still see them, no matter where they're at.
Thanks to the efforts of the city of Kirkwood, the old Turner School is now on the National Register of Historic Places. And after a rehab, the building will reopen as an office complex with some space the community can use.
We want to put a lot of the history you were referring to in these main corridors and anything we can down the halls. And
Developer
we can
Steve
do
Beck
things in
gave
between
Harry
the office
Ming
like
his
here.
first look inside the school
try to
in
utilize
40
those.
years.
Right, I see.
This area, once again, will be part of our offices coming
I
around this
see.
side for our residential division to kind of separate the two with our administrative in the middle. But once again, we're going to try to keep it simple by just cutting a hole for access
I see.
and then maintaining some of what's in here.
I see.
I was familiar with the building because as a contractor and a woodworker, I used to go there at the hardwood store and spent time in the places upstairs that sold historic artifacts for home remodeling and those type things. And I just always thought it was a very neat building when I'd gone in it before.
When I drove up to the building, I was wondering, what am I going to find inside? Because this building looks like it's been sitting empty for a long time and maybe hasn't been cared for the way I would care for it. But when I walked inside, everything was pretty much still intact in terms of windows and doors and
Scott Krejci is the architect on the project. He'll be moving his offices into the building too.
I grew up in South St. Louis, so I went to Frabel Grade School and Roosevelt High School. And this building's done in the same style with the large ceilings and the big wood double-hung windows, and the idea that I'd be sitting there with my office where I was 40 years ago when I was a kid drawing, little stick figure houses with the smoke coming out of the chimney. It just really inspired me, and I knew that, here's where I want my office to be.
We never could really go back here, so I'm curious to what it looks like.
Well,
We
this
would
is the
come
metal
down.
door that they probably kept
Yeah,
you out
this
with.
is this metal door. Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Steve Beck and his partners bid on the building in August of 2004, within 2 weeks after the previous owner put it up for sale.
Right here.
After finances, diplomacy was key to moving forward.
The first meeting we had was actually with the mayor of Kirkwood to ask him if we decided to do what we're looking at doing, would they support us? And then we had, later on after we made the introduction, we had meetings with the neighborhood to make sure that they would support us. And our conversations were, we don't want to do this and spend the kind of money we're going to spend if people are opposed to it. And obviously there was some controversy on this building of that wanting to be a rec center by local community advocates, which wasn't working out financially. And I think they all came to the conclusion that this was a good mix of what they wanted and what we wanted. They clearly wanted to save the school. They'd prefer it be public use. There were no funds for public use. Kirkwood is cutting their budgets right now. We think we can save the school and make this a tax revenue for the city and benefit the neighborhood with jobs. We've already talked with a few people in the neighborhood about doing some positions of management with the school, whether that's snow removal or maintenance and those things. And I believe it'll also open up job opportunities for secretarial staff and I would assume others.
When we first looked at buying the building and put a contract in on it, I saw it solely as an investment in a place for my office. And then after talking to the people in Meacham Park and hearing what the school meant to them, it really transformed my view of who I was in relationship to that building. And it really was now more than just an exciting architectural space for me and my business, but I really got from the community the sense of responsibility for caring for that building.
This whole area.
Harry Ming has been living in Oklahoma, but he's moving back to the St. Louis area to be part of his old school's transformation.
I never in a million years thought it would turn into something with this type of magnitude.
When it was taken away, it was like taking away a part of you, a part of your heart. It is very important to the community and to those of us who were a part of Turner School that a portion of it is set aside for remembrance.